Welcome, everyone, to the Win Now podcast, hosted by Deborah Byrd, founder and CEO of Plug and Play SM.
I am so excited for today's show, so let's go.
And then myself, Todd Bookspan, founder of Win by Noon.
Full disclosure, I have 3 cats, and they were all rescue cats. And we were a no-pet family because I had 4 kids, and I was like, I don't need another mouth to feed or butt to wipe. But cats are pretty easy because they, take care of themselves. Dogs are so much harder. You have to walk them. You can't go on vacation.
I did see this lady on Shark Tank, and she taught cats how to, like a seat could stick on your toilet, and it would teach cats how to go to the bathroom in your toilet. She made a lot of money doing that. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Win Now podcast. I'm Todd Bookspan, the founder of Win by Noon, and today's episode is The Random Show.
And I'm Deborah Byrd, founder of Plug and Play SM. I love the random shows. Because it's unpredictable. You don't know what could come out of our mouth. It's usually not really business related.
Well, you're always unpredictable, first off. And,
always.
This is our second random show. And we were thinking, do we want to come up with a better name? And you love it, so we're sticking with it. It's inspired by Tim Ferriss, who does The Random Show, which is really my favorite Tim Ferriss episode. He and Kevin Rose come prepared with just random stuff. I love Rich Roll. He does one called Roll On that he does. That's kind of a random show. And I think it's the opportunity for, I'd like people, of course, at least for you, want to know more about Deborah Byrd and what's going on in her world. And so this is really non-business related. It's things that are impacting our lives, things that have inspired us lately, things maybe we've watched or listened to that may have been good. So tell me what's one thing that, since we did this, whatever it was, probably a month or two ago, what's one thing that comes to mind that you're like, oh, this was totally a great thing that happened?
So last night, in fact, this is all, I need parenting advice. So those of you listening, please drop in the comments. So full disclosure, I have 3 cats and they were all rescue cats. And we were a no pet family because I had 4 kids and I was like, I don't need another mouth to feed or butt to wipe. But cats are pretty easy because they, take care of themselves. I was at Champ. I was picking him up from baseball practice yesterday, and they do it. The coach is brilliant. He has his house in the backyard. He built out like a full-blown baseball park that's where the practices are. And there's like a bunch of farmland, and cows and horses and stuff. And so anyways, I'm looking over and I see a cat that's like a kitten that is walking by Champ's baseball bag. You know where this is going. And so I'm like, how cute the little kitten. Now, I do have 1 girl cat and 2 boy cats. They're all fixed. They're declawed. I know, don't come at me for those of you when we had gotten them. Our kids were little and they, we didn't want them getting scratched. And so I send Jordan a text and I was like, I sent him a video of the kitten. And I was like, should we get another cat? And he was like, I don't even know why you're asking. What I say is not going to matter. It's probably already in the car.
That is a good husband.
Yeah, he was like, whatever you want. And I was like, okay, but it's a stray cat. Is it a girl? Is it a boy? And I was told you should never bring back another girl cat when you already have a girl cat. And so anyways, I'm sitting there watching it and I get out of the car and I'm like, and it was just laying on the pavement and it's hot in Texas. And I'm making all these justifications of how it's probably going to be eaten if we leave it out. You found
some other mom that was just as sympathetic as you to take it?
No, there was another mom there with a small little dog. I don't know what kind of dog it was, but the odd thing was the cat was it felt like domesticated, friendly, social. And so Champ was like, can we keep it? Can we keep
so you're
it?
Trying to steal someone's cat is what I'm hearing you say.
So then it wasn't until we drive home, and it's a 45-minute drive. That's how far the practice is. We get home and I'm starting to feel, it wasn't until it was either Briley or Jordan that said, oh, it's pretty domesticated. And I was like, I was just thinking friendly. And as soon as that was said, I was like, what if we just stole someone's cat? I knew it wasn't the coach's cat, but I was like, what if it was a neighbor's cat?
This is the best. This is the best intervention ever. So what did you do?
We still have it. So we sent a picture to the coach and said, hey, just wanted to make sure that this isn't y'all's cat, or do you know whose cat this is?
That would have been amazing if they said you just stole our cat.
Well, so Champ was like, well, if they really loved the cat, they wouldn't let it just wander outside. And I was like, unless it's an outdoor cat, maybe, what if it misses its mom?
So where's the parenting advice here? I think this is adult advice that's needed. Intervention
okay, so adult. So right now I've kept it away from my other cats. It's on our screened porch with food and water. And I was like, I don't want to introduce it to the other cats.
And it has claws, right? This one's got
Yes.
claws. So it can kick everyone else's ass.
Yes. So I do have a vet appointment today because I wanted to make sure it was all okay, but I also feel like we should go knock on some doors and make sure it's no one's pet that they're missing.
Well, let me just tell you, this random show definitely took a more random thing than I thought it was going to take, and I think that I'm speechless actually. So I feel like the fact that you
Am
stole
I a
someone's
cat
cat,
stealer?
I believe that there's maybe you all can comment on it, but I feel like it's at least 60-40 that you stole someome's cat, but
Have I
40%
turned
of me is
into the
like
cat lady? Am I the cat lady?
40% of me says you did a good deed and that you picked up a cat that was in need of a family. So I'm gonna run with that narrative for you, and so that you sleep well tonight. I hope everything goes well with it, but you all are gonna have to take up on this. That's a tough one. I'm glad that my wife is. I'm not. I can't say I'm glad she's allergic to cats because that's not it. But the fact that she's allergic to cats has made it so we don't have cats, which I'm very grateful for. Even though we had cats growing up in my house and dogs, I'm okay that we don't
But
have
dogs are
cats.
so much harder. You have to walk them and you can't go on vacation because they could
Yeah,
poop
that's
in
true.
your
That
mouth.
costs us more money. And they got that cat thing that rotates now with your litter. I saw one
They
at
sure
Costco.
do.
That seems like something that, Shark Tank definitely probably featured and does well. And I did see this lady on Shark Tank, and she taught cats how to they like a seat you could stick on your toilet, and it would teach cats how to go to the
Oh,
bathroom in your toilet. She made a lot of money doing that. She came back with a second product. She lived in Yardley, Pennsylvania. That's why I remember, because that's the town in Pennsylvania I grew up in. It's a tiny town. It had one stoplight when I was a kid. So
okay. So what do I
fun,
do with the
fun
cat?
fact.
Do I go door knock and figure out because he has another practice on Thursday, so I'm kind of
I
in
think
position.
maybe you bring it back on a leash on third. Well, see what the vet says first, right? And then, I hope everything checks out, because I don't want you to be like the vet, be like, oh my gosh, you got to dump this cat.
Because remember the other
Um,
one that we got, Maverick and Goose died in a year, and I spent like
oh
15
no.
grand trying to save it.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they were Top Gun cats. That's
Well, we
amazing.
found them in a box in the summer, and we named them Maverick and Goose, and then of course Goose is the one that died. I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
All right. Man, this show is taking a tragic turn. So I guess just wait and see what the coach says, and look around for signs in the neighborhood with sad kid on it who says lost kitten, and
So he
maybe
did respond and say, I think it might be the neighbors with the horses because we just saw it like starting a week ago.
all
But
right. Well, then I
it
think that's so. My advice then is go knock on the neighbor with the horse's yard and say, "Hey, is this y'all's
okay.
cat? Oh, by the way, you owe me $200 for a veterinarian appointment. Sorry, I stole it."
I
No,
mean, it definitely looked like it had been outdoors, and I mean, it was hungry.
if I had a farm and a horse, I would probably want a cat to keep my horse's company. So I think that's what it is. I think it's an outdoor cat, and I think you stole it. Now it's 75% likelihood you stole someone's cat. So
Oh,
we will report back on the next random show what happened.
yes.
What happened with this cat?
Okay, so what's your random thought?
So it's not necessarily random. I'm actually in the middle of my fast mimicking diet number 17. So I've done this 3 to 4 times a year, for divide that out 3 to 4 times. So whatever that is, 4+ years of doing a fast mimicking diet. It's from a company called Prolon. And the reason I bring it up is because you and I were talking before about, the fact that you eat Oreos and ice cream sandwiches before you go to bed. And I'm like, oh, if I eat sugar before I go to bed, my heart rate's higher. But I've always had like a slightly higher heart rate than rest of people. Why do I know this? Because as a kid, I went to the Olympic Training Center. In the morning, you had to take your heart rate for 15 seconds while you were laying down in bed. Then you stood up, you took it again. Then the difference there told them whether you recovered or not. I don't know if that's science today, 40 years later or not. But I always had a higher heart rate than everyone else at the Olympic Training Center. These were all great athletes, and my heart rate was higher. But when I do this diet, my heart rate's like 15% lower 2 nights into it. And so I think it's kind of a cool
Oh,
thing. So my random fact is that I probably once or twice a week now, I stop eating at like 3 or 4 during the non version of this. And my heart rate's lower, but not as low as it is when I do this diet. In this diet, you're tricking your body into thinking you're fasting. So if you actually Google Prolon fasting diet, and why am I drawing a blank of the doctor? Hold on, I'll have to Google it in 1 second. It's going to come to me. But all the big podcasters talk about health, talk about this guy, because it's got testing all around, mainly outside of the US, where they use it to test for kids with diabetes and all these other things. People
mm.
with cancer go on this fast mimicking diet because you're eating about 800 to 1,000 calories a day, but your body thinks, because it's really low sugar, low carbs, all that stuff, your body thinks you're fasting for 5 days. So it creates a thing called autophagy, which is clearing out your zombie cells and replacing them with fresh cells. So I always feel pretty good when I do it. I still exercise through it, even though some people can't or don't. So, see
Ooh,
your
that would be
see
tough.
your see your doctor on that one. But I love doing it. Let me just do a
What if
doc.
you don't start, like, I don't usually eat breakfast or lunch,
I would say,
but then that leaves me eating
oh
at
yeah,
night.
Walter Longo is the doctor. I don't know why I couldn't remember his name.
What is it?
Dr. Longo, Longo.
Longo.
Yeah, but it's interesting because there's another guy. His name is David Sinclair, and David Sinclair works at
Mhm.
Harvard, so he's a pretty smart guy. And he had originally, when he did a podcast for one season on longevity, and he's got a book, I think that's called Longevity or Living Long or something like that. And he just is rebooting his podcast. So he's on kind of the podcasts, he's going on other people's podcasts. He's rebooting his podcast. But I didn't realize when he did his podcast, it was the number one, whatever, health podcast. And so I listened to the first episode of the new season, and it just rewinds to the old seasons. It's like highlights from the old season. He said that's the number one thing you can do for yourself is he thinks is intermittent fasting, minimum of 16 hours before you fast. So skip breakfast, he says, is the easiest one. And he now doesn't eat, just eats one meal, that he eats dinner. And so,
Here we
there's
go.
definitely science on that. So I would just say, if you're thinking about maybe how to reset. So for me, it's just a reset. I do it once a quarter. My family hates it because then I go, like, I'm going to a business dinner tomorrow night, and I'm like, it's the last night of it. I'm like, well, shoot, if I'm going to suffer through 5 days of it, I'm not going to quit 12 hours early and eat dinner. I'm just going to show up at the dinner and not eat. And, I went out to dinner the last time I did it with friends, and Tar's like, Todd's on his this fast thing. And they're like, oh, cool. I got another friend who does that. And I sat there, they all ate pasta and pizza. It looked really good. And I just I brought my little soup in a cup, and I drank my soup. That was my dinner.
I mean, how many times have you seen me go to lunch or breakfast and I'm like, oh no, I'm good, thank you. I'll just have
Yeah,
water.
that's it. So I bring it up because I think it's one of the things that's under $200, and I got a subscription to it from Amazon. It just comes once a quarter, and I do it. It's the food's okay. Then I have to eat olives like as a snack and things I don't really love, but it's kind of cool. So if you're looking maybe for a health reset, I would look into that. I've been listening to the Be Wealthy podcast. Brett Tanner is coaching me on my financial stuff. And so he always asks the question, what's one purchase you made in the last year? Tim Ferriss would say that's $100. That's changed your life. Brett says $200 inflation. What have you bought that's been $200 or less recently that's really been a game changer for you?
Butt lube. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just thought I'd throw that out there to
That's
shock
awesome.
you.
I'm still speechless.
Um, I would say I've never been a pickleball player, so I just recently bought some pickleball paddles because the weather was getting nicer, and we set up a little net in the backyard, and the kids and I have really had fun with it.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. I feel like if I play pickleball, I'm gonna hurt my ankle.
Yeah.
Only because I've got friends who've hurt their ankles, and my chiropractor, shout out to Dr. Matt back in Scottsdale, says it's been really good for his business, that pickleball. Well, in fact, my friend who hurt himself, I live near Dr. Matt, so I referred him over to him. So Matt
Ooh.
Tannenberg. So by the way, Dr. Matt Tannenberg, great. The body whisperer is what my wife calls him. So
Oh.
that just tells you he's does miraculous things. Yeah, it's funny because I thought about that last time I talked about my eye mask. That's kind of been a
You
game
thought about the butt
changer.
lube?
No, I was trying to move past that one. I was trying to move past that one.
I could tell.
The other thing I've been doing that's going to sound really weird is I've become a Post-it note guy, which is funny because I told you I was listening to this podcast on kind of eliminating things.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, and I did the Post-it note thing before that. I was on a Zoom call, and I just had a lot of things running through my brain, like, oh, get a plane ticket for this, boom, write it on there, stick it on my wall. Okay, so I have
Oh.
short-term things over here, and I've got midterm things here, and I've got maybe things over here that I want to do. And so I just look at them up here. So the short-term things actually get written in my planner, and then the midterm things aren't. But this guy says if you actually take all your ideas and put them up this was after I had already done it. He said if you take all your ideas and you put them up on the wall, you'll realize that you can't do it all, and that whole idea you can constrict what you actually should work on. So I thought that was kind of cool, and it kind of feels good to rip them off the wall. So it's kind of my visual to-do list up here of things that
I
I've
like
got it
that.
all on my phone too. But that's probably one of the other things that's been a small random thing that I have done differently, and I don't know if I'll stick with it long term, but it's working for me short term.
I like it. Okay,
Uh,
well,
what, what about books? Have you listened to a book or a podcast that you want to recommend to the crew?
um, the last couple books I got bored pretty quickly, pretty fast, so I didn't finish them. So I don't have a good book right now, and I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I watch a lot of things on YouTube.
Okay,
Like I
anything on YouTube
subscribe
we
to
should watch?
things. There was a recent update with Google Intelligence where it
Yeah.
looks at your personalization of it can read everything from your Google Photos to your Google search to your Gmail, and it'll give more personalized suggestions based off your preferences. So I've
Wow.
been,
All right.
mhm. What about you?
I'm rereading a Rich Dad Poor Dad book.
Oh,
The one about what's it called? I should know the name. It's the one on different. Hold on, I'm googling it now. So tells you I should remember the name on which one I'm reading. It's the one that has the different. Gosh, where is it? Oh, Google's did me dirty here. Book list. Okay. It's the one, it says over 20 here. Oh, cash flow quadrant. That's it. Cash flow quadrant.
Oh,
It was homework for Be Wealthy, and it had some good reminders in it of ways where it's talking about moving from being an employed business, employee, to being self-employed, to being a business owner, to being an investor. And I think that anyone who's thinking about going down the money route, it's just kind of a good reminder to see where you're at and kind of look for maybe some ways that you can go. And then I haven't listened to any new podcasts lately other than I mentioned David Sinclair. So I'll probably go down the Sinclair rabbit hole as he puts out some stuff on longevity, just because I think he's fascinating. He actually started a trial recently where they're using some whatever he found in his lab to try to cure human blindness. And so
ooh.
they literally give these three things, molecules, whatever they are, to rats and make them see again. And so literally he's like, this is pretty easy. It's either going to work and they see again or they don't. And so the fact that the FDA has cleared it, he said we could have done other things like liver or other organs and tried to cure and fix other things, but they're starting with this blindness because maybe that's probably what they could get money for. But I mean,
Mm,
think about that. That would be pretty incredible when it comes to longevity to see how that pans out.
that would be great. My daughter
So
may be blind. So
I'll report back on the next random show. Tell us down in the comments what's one great book or podcast that you're listening to because Deborah is not reading books that she can finish. So I would love to find her one that is good.
yeah. And are we done? Are you
Well,
gonna do
I know
your
you're tight on time, so I'm trying to be
yeah.
respectful of your clock. So unless you want to throw out one more random thing for our audience.
No, I do have to jump because we're a little bit past, so I better
All right, let me give out one show that I think people might find kind of funny. Margot's Got Money Troubles. It's on Apple TV. And I don't want to give out a spoiler, but she has a baby and then she has to make money and she starts on OnlyFans and she's got a crazy family. Michelle Pfeiffer's in it, so
Oh,
it might it's a little edgy, so you might like it. So just throwing out
okay.
a show to watch if you're really bored and you want to watch, have something playing in the background while you're doing work.
I like it.
But take me serious on the comment. Give some books that maybe even
Yeah.
like a fiction book, because Deborah only does business stuff while she's sitting in the tub and eating Oreos. And so let's try to get her some relaxation. As always, we're super grateful that you're listening to this. If you haven't subscribed, liked it, comment with a 5-star review. We would love that because it'll help us gain some more traction down the road.
And now all you have to do is win now.
Thanks, everyone.